Hey onesies, Josh Williams here, and thanks for checking out this week's episode of the One Man Podcast. It's always free and available on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play Music, and many more, as well as on the web at onemanpodcast.com. So please, whatever platform you're listening on, like and subscribe. While you're at it, give it a rating, leave a review. Why? Because it helps the podcast, and I'd really appreciate it. How about that? What about social media? Search One Man Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube to keep up with what's going on there. Get a little extra content for yourself. And finally, to get in touch, please send your emails to contact@onemanpodcast.com. You send it, I read it on the podcast. That's the deal. Thanks for listening, guys, and I hope you enjoy this week's episode.
What's up, everybody? This is DJ Demers.
I'm K. Trevor Wilson.
Hey, it's Krista Allen.
Hi, this is Rick Mercier.
What's up, guys? This is Paul Verzi, and you are listening to the One Man Podcast. Yeah!
My name is Josh Williams, and welcome to the One Man Podcast, episode number 172 for Wednesday, August 26th, 2020. How's it going, onesies? Are you guys having a great week? I had a fantastic week. Did I? I did. I had a lot of really cool things happen this week. Got an email to read. That always makes me happy when you guys are interacting with me. What else? So I'll tell you all about this. I got my taxes done. Yeah. Is it August? Yes, I did. Right under the wire. Got them done, and I'm feeling fantabuloso about that. I did a walk through the old neighborhood with my buddy Matt, and I will tell you guys all about that. I went for a walk with my dog Chase there. What else? A couple little errands. I went for a visit with my mom, which was really nice. Still playing some games, really nothing to write home about there. And I'm still gymming. Still gymming is what I wrote down here. So I'll tell you guys, a little bit. I think I elaborated on the last episode, considering I, was on my list here, and I just recorded the last episode like an hour ago. So this one will be on time. And then I got a big DK haul. My partners at DK. Oh, the books are flowing again, which is making me feel a little bit more back to normal, during this new normal here in the pandemic. So I'm going to tell you guys all about that. So I got my taxes done. All right. And I know I've talked about it before, but for any new listeners, me getting my taxes done is quite the ordeal. I have a lot of stuff, all the different jobs, all the different adventures and activations and promos and gigs that I tell you guys about on the podcast. Well, each and every one of them has their own separate paper trail. And as I'm a subcontractor, there's a lot to take care of, right? I gotta track a lot of kilometers and all sorts of crap. Well, I basically just, I got a lot to do with my taxes. So I spend a shitload of time putting all of the data together. That's the work that I have to do personally. And then I get a lot of assistance, basically Jason, as much as I shit on him, every year he helps me with my taxes. So, but in the last several weeks, it's been very difficult to find a time. So I've been done all of my part. I got all my data collected, all my numbers. It's funny, like all the work I do, I can collect all the numbers and just put them on one. I do a little, not a spreadsheet, but an info sheet in the Word document, and just have all of my things lined up. Every single line of how much money I made from every different company, all my totals of expenses in different categories. I've got them all mapped out extensively in spreadsheets. But then the information that I bring to Jay is like, here's all of the finalized details. And then he plugs them in for me, and also finds little areas like, so certain things like I bought a new vehicle last year and I financed it. I didn't lease it. So it's kind of like, where does that go? And what portion of this? And then there's like all my, whatever. It's a ton of stuff. Self-employed person taxes are more complicated than employee taxes, because they tax you and then you got to beg for most of it back. And most people don't know how to do that. So you pay a ton of money in taxes and you bitch and complain about the money you're paying. And if you took the time to kind of do some of what I do, you'd get more back. And then, and the diligent people do. That's the thing too. Like when people are like, they pay the taxes at the end of the year, they get a return. They're like, yay. It's like, that's your money. Like so many of you, whatever, I won't go into it. I go into these fucking rants that I didn't intend to do. When you get taxed at work, by all means, talk to somebody who knows something about taxes, because there's probably lots of shit that you spend during the year. Sorry, I'm slowing down because I'm mindful of all the swearing. I'm aware. I'll work on it. That's another thing I know, right? From the last episode, the things I know, things I don't. I know how to not swear. I'm passionate. I'm passionate about it. You guys get your money back, right? You're not going to get all of it back, but a lot of you too, you could just start a small business and you're allowed to, make a loss for 7 years. So you could just be like, I'm starting to fucking, Jesus Christ, Josh. And then there's blasphemy on top of it. I cover my profanity with blasphemy. But it's one of those things where, like, if whatever you're into, be like, you know what, I'm going to start a small business. You don't have to jump through hoops and register a bunch of stuff. Just, I'm starting a small business. If you're spending a ton of money, like baking cakes for friends and stuff like that, just be like, I'm starting a small cake business. And then you can write off all of that flour and sugar and equipment and write off a friggin' Cuisinart, your mixer, write all that stuff off and just be like, yeah, I'm trying to start a business. And if it fails, right, after 7 years, we didn't, okay, well, it failed, but at least you're not paying the taxes and all that stuff that you're spending, your own hobby stuff. I don't know. All I'm saying is Jay helps me with that stuff. All the things I can write off. I get him all the data. He helps me plug it in. And then, and so, yeah, I'm getting a return again this year, which is crazy. Very, very happy about that. It's funny because I feel like I make a lot of money, but at the same time, I also spend a ton, an SH asterisk T load of money on travel, like travel and gas and accommodations and, gifts and things like that for networking purposes and stuff. Like it costs money to keep me on the road and all the vehicle maintenance and all that's like all part of business. So, as much as I make a lot of money, I put a lot of it back out into the business. I pay a ton of money for, podcast equipment and memberships and fees and Photoshop stuff and Auphonic and all these different things. It all costs money. So it's embarrassing to see on the tax thing, like how much money I'm actually worth by the time I'm done. But I'm like, I don't notice because money's constantly coming and going from my accounts all year long. So I feel like I'm in the green because I'm never desperate. But I still, like, yeah, that's the thing. Like it comes and it goes. So, that's why I was so upset last week with the dentist stuff is like what I actually get to keep, like they want to take what I'll actually get to keep for an entire month. So once everything's paid for, what's left isn't a ton, but they're like, we'll just take that. How about we take all of that to keep those? I'm not going to start again. Not going to start. Let it go. Let it go. Burn it away. Ritualistically burn it. There you go. And just release those ashes and it's gone from your life. So yeah, whatever. Taxes are done. I'm getting a refund. I'm happy. Live my life. All right. So, a thing I did, let me see. So here's the thing. I've been trying to, if I'm not making it to the gym, I'm now 3 days in a row without going to the gym. So I decided I'll take the weekends off. That's predominantly when I'll be busiest with other stuff too. So if I get in a habit of like Monday through Friday or gym days, but then again, I was chatting with you guys in the last episode about how like, they say, work out a day and then give your muscles a day to rest and then back on whatever. So I'm going to have to figure it out, but I'm going to talk to a trainer and I'll pay them for their time to just, I go like, forget the machines. Like, you want to walk by and point at it, let's do that. But I want the info more than I want you to watch me do it. You know what I mean? If you want to sit me down and show me the proper posture, cool. And be like, this is where you want to feel it. We can do all that, but I'll do a few things and let's just do a consultation thing as opposed to a straight up, I want to work out with you. But yesterday I've decided, like, if I'm not going to, Monday through Friday. So yesterday was Monday. I did not get to the gym and I decided, I was going to walk my dog, take little Chase out for a walk and then go to the gym. It was so hot. And I think by the time I was finished, because of COVID and how everything works, it was like when I got back with him, I was just about to miss another class or another session starting. And then I would have had to be like another 2 hours before I could get to the gym. And I was kind of like, well, I don't want to, like, 2 hours is a long time to just be kind of like not starting anything that's on my list. Where like I just went for a walk. I was sweaty as hell. So I'm like, I don't want to go home and just sit around sweaty for an hour and a half. And I don't know. Maybe it's stupid, lazy of me, but I'm like, I'm not going to go home, shower, and then get right back in the car and then start like something for like 30, 40 minutes and then get in the car, go all the way to the gym and get sweaty again and then come home and shower. So I was just like, you know what? I went for my walk today. I did 30 minutes. I walked 2 kilometers, got my heart rate up to close my exercise ring. I'm like, okay, I was good. Then I came home and did a few things. And then I just fucked around on the PlayStation when I was done, which was like late night. Anyways, so I've decided, I went for a good walk with my dog, and it was also starting to storm too. So I would have gone a little further with him. A poor little bastard. It was hot, 27 degrees, and then plus humidex. But 27. Once we got for a while, he was panting. So I'm like, all right, buddy, let's get you home before you keel over, because I didn't want him overheating himself. And he was panting for a little while too once we got back to my mom's place. So he he was a little soldier. He's a good little dude. He was excited to go, and he was a good little soldier, but he definitely was getting hot and was ready to just go home. But I got that workout in, that walk in. But other than that, been going to the gym, doing my elliptical, being a good bitch. My eating has not been awful. It has not been great. I went shopping at Costco and I saw Lucky Charms on sale. I haven't had those in years. And I was like, fuck it. If you're going to cheat, I'm like, cereal is probably not the worst thing. It's nowhere near the sugar content that it once was. However, it has made my poop shockingly green for the last few days. So I'm going to finish what I got and then never eat it again. That'll be my plan. I don't know why I shared that, but it's there, and I'm not recording a new episode nor editing this out. So yeah, at first it actually had me, it's so funny. I'm at an age where it's like, if I poop green more than once, I'm Googling what does green poop mean? And it's like, it either means you ate something with dye in it or you have a horrible bacterial infection. I'm like, all right, so do I let it go? I'm like, I assume it's the dye from the food, but after a couple of days of not having these Lucky Charms, they certainly don't look lucky on the back end. They look like I've been cursed. It's like the leprechaun on the box on the way in, and then the leprechaun from the horror movie on the way out. So yeah, I still going to the gym. I'm still trying to learn the gym stuff. I started reading a body resistance book, started as I'm like 10 pages in. So I'm going to keep reading that and just trying to acquire the information. Just even if I read the whole thing and I don't feel like I got anything from it, at least I will be putting the effort in, right? It's just slowly walking towards that goal of being able to do the gym by myself. Like I said, I'm eating better on and off. So like I made a good food thing. I made like a chicken pot pie, and that made me feel terrible. Yeah, I'm kind of right now, what I'm kind of doing is I'm trying not to bring any more garbage into the house, and I'm trying to burn through the garbage I do have in the house. So rather than like starting to eat good and then being like, as I hate wasting food. I look like a guy who hates wasting food. Oh, geez, you got leftovers? Give them to me. I wouldn't want to see it go in a landfill. No, it's just about like, I got stuff, and I'm still doing quite well, and I'm keeping my intake less than my daily calories, but it's still, it's not just a numbers game, right? There's still stuff like, I'd still like to give myself, I don't want to eat 2,000 calories of like burgers every day. It's like, it'd be nice to have, I had salad the other day too. Like I got some celery sticks that I'm going to F up this evening. There you go. See, I caught myself, made it nice and PG. So anyways, I'm doing that. Took my buddy Jad to Bed Bath, to Jad, someone who was working with me on the Nespresso program. He too saw the value in the Nespresso deal I told you guys about last week. So him and I went to get him that machine and then to take back his one to Costco, the miracle of Costco and Bed Bath. And I bought myself a new chair. That gaming chair I bought during COVID, really not happy with it. Sitting here for long periods of time, writing, reading, recording, playing games. I just didn't like it. I'm back to an office style, executive chair, way more comfortable. And then my mom's been in the market for a new chair because she's working from home from the government. So I just gave her my chair. It's way more comfortable for her than what she was using. So, brought that to her place. And then I had a cigar. I got to still post the pictures of that. Sorry, trying to get good at posting pictures. Just to keep you guys engaged in what I'm doing. So I got a little video of me walking Chase that I wanted to share. And then I got, a picture of the big old bat that I smoked when I was at my mom's place. I actually picked it up when I went for a walk with my buddy Matt, but we ended up smoking in something different. So anyways, yeah, we had, we ordered a pizza. I smoked a cigar and we had some Coronas. How about that? And it was nice. We sat in the backyard, we listened to music, we chatted, we had some beers, and then when the conversation dwindled, I showed my mom how to play Netflix on her phone, and then we watched some Arrested Development. So that was fun. 13 minutes in, and I feel like I'm running out of stuff to talk about, which is good because I have to leave for the gym in approximately 1 hour's time. So I don't have a long one for you guys this week. Yeah. So just taking a look at my notes here. So I think the big story this week, well, there's two big stories. One of them is bigger for me than it is for you guys, but let's do, I'll tell you what, I've been still playing Batman Arkham Knight, almost done, having fun with that. It's also pissing me off at times, but I'm enjoying that game. And like I said, more of the same of what before. I won't go into it, but just it's a fun one. And we're still playing that game Fall Guys with my online family. It's really funny. Like it feels kind of like lame and embarrassing to say at times, but you know what? They're a good group. We got, like I said, we got some young pups. Red's in there. My good friend Red, who I'll be seeing later this week. She joins in the group, and it's just a fun kind of evening community, if you will. If we're all just sort of sitting at home doing whatever, it's kind of fun that after all the day's shit is done, everyone's able to sort of pop in there, shoot the shit. And we're a fun group. We're a diverse group. From, two different countries. When Tina was with us more often, it was 3 different countries, but it's a good group of people. We got people in Texas. One of our friends actually is evacuating his city right now because they're getting hit with a couple hurricanes. But it's interesting to have like the different cultures, the different age groups. It's just, honestly, it's a fun group of fucks to gather on. So I really dig my, it's so lame, but like we've been the group that's kind of hung out with each other over COVID. So we all live our lives, but then in the evenings, if we're home, we sort of just jump onto the PlayStation, and it doesn't even matter if we're playing the same games. It's just shooting the shit. And I got to tell you, great group of people, I enjoy shooting the shit. And it's kind of funny because it's an interesting dynamic that's developed, because I've played games before where it's online and you play with people and you only play the same game together. And you only talk to each other when you're playing said game. But what's kind of cool about this is we all, it's more of a group now where we just get on and some of us playing different games, and, some of us don't even have the game that the other person's playing, right? So it's not even a matter like, tonight I'm going to play. But it's a cool little group that just kind of, in the evening, we jump into this party. Not everyone's there every single night, but it's kind of nice to be able to just shoot the shit and share your day. It's almost like, it's lame. I say it's like my online family, but it's kind of cool because there's times where, some of the younger pups have had like a bad day and they're frustrated and they're angry and they're not doing well with their feelings. And it's cool that they actually feel comfortable to like open up about that stuff in the group. Like, I got to tell you, being a young male in high school, it's difficult to show vulnerability because you're kind of thrown to the wolves every day when you go to school, and it's like dog eat dog. But like, so it's cool that we've cultivated a group, a space, an environment where they feel like they can kind of like something. Like, we also bust balls hard in that group too. Like, it's not a place for like little bitches. It is not a Ned Flanders shining white picket fence environment. Like, we're fun and we're friendly with each other and we bust balls. But when someone's having a day where they're like, I'm having this happen, and they're like, I'm frustrated about this. Like, it's kind of cool that it's cool that they're able to know that when we turn, when they come in like that, when they're like, I'm having a bad day, that we're all able to kind of cut the shit, cut the ball busting and just kind of try to offer support. Like, I don't know what it's like being a kid in high school these days, but I would imagine with all of the Instagram, this and that, whatever. By the way, I've got a great outro song this week. I'm super excited to share it with you guys. I heard it earlier today and I think it's fucking hilarious and I love it. I was looking for a different song by that band to play for you guys, and then I just came across this and I listened to the first few minutes. I actually clicked on it because the music video, icon, thumbnail is what I was looking for. Thumbnail looked hilarious, and I ended up listening to the song. I was like, this is fucking hysterical. It's instantly I'm like, outro song for this week for sure. And then other reasons too, I'll tell you about later. Anyways, I think it's cool that, with whatever they got going on in schools these days or whatever, the fact that they can just come in and kind of be like, all right, I'm going to unload this shit. Cause your back's up against the wall all the time in high school, right? You're trying to fit in with different groups. You don't want you can't even take an insult without feeling like everyone's looking at you and laughing at you, whatever. So I'm not trying to project my own shit, because I actually kind of did okay in high school with friends and stuff, but I had my insecurities. I don't feel like I ever walked around wearing them. In fact, right now my Facebook profile picture is a picture of me from high school. So if you know me and you want to take a look, or if you don't, my name, Josh Williams, go ahead and look for me. Me standing with a bunch of other idiots, grade 9, stupid, goofy smirk grin on my face. Anyways, I dig closing off my evenings with these people. It's a cool environment to be in. So, we've been playing Fall Guys, and that's like a dog eat dog, Wipeout Pure Ultimate Warrior. I told you guys about it before. Just a goofy game. We're all getting much better at it. In fact, now when we play as a team, we tend to get right to the end with each other, and then it's last man standing. So it goes kind of crazy. Whatever. It's just a fun way to wrap up the day. So the two big things I got. One, I got a big old haul of DK books. I got my first DK shipment since COVID. I think when I was talking with my guy at DK, he had mentioned that I was the, I got a nice like here. Hey, so, sorry about that, gang. I'm looking for my picture too. I'm opening up the app to get the picture so I can talk about what I got. And I've got to weather the storm of all the friggin' likes. Did I not even post it on Instagram? The fuck is wrong with me? Okay, well, I'll have to post that so you guys can see it. All right, here we go. Here's the picture there. So I got, they were telling me I was one of the last, I was the last person who got a shipment before everything shut down with COVID. And I'm one of the firsts to get it again. And I love them. You guys know how much I love DK. I've been bragging about them for years. They have been the best partner to me since the whole thing. And this is not ragging on anybody, the partners. All right. I've had lots of companies whose stuff I like, but just sometimes, it's like pulling teeth trying to get them to fulfill their end. And DK has never, I don't even know if they pay attention to my reviews, to be honest with you. That's not a shit on them. They're busy doing stuff. I think that I just have a good relationship with them. I think they know how much I love their stuff. And I don't know, they take great care of me. I honestly couldn't be any more grateful for what they do and our partnership together. So I sent them a list of some stuff I was interested in, and man, was I ever happy to see the box come and all the different books. And I'm going to tell you a few of them that are going to be coming down the pipeline. So I got the sports book. It's the 5th edition. It is a big arse book about sports. I just quick flipped through it, and it's got like all the different sports in it, and it teaches you the rules and the strategies. It's got these awesome little graphics of like how the sport is played. It is extensive, really extensive. It's, whatever. I'll give it its review when it's time. So I got the sports book. Looking forward to that. I got a step-by-step baking book, an illustrated, of course, illustrated. It's DK, tons of visuals. This thing is huge illustrated step-by-step baking book, because I was like, you know what? I'd like to bake some stuff. Now that I'm trying to eat better, I'm like, I don't know if this book's a good idea, but my friend Matt came over last week, and that'll be the other thing I tell you about. And we decided, like, that day, I was, showing him the book as it came earlier that morning, and he was like, if you want to bake something, I was like, I'm like, let's bake something. I was like, well, what do you want to do? And we started talking about this because Matt's a chef. And so we had slowly started to, we decided, I think we were going to try to do eclairs, but we were going to have to get some equipment I didn't have and stuff like that. And as the day was kind of getting on, I'm like, we're either going to be able to bake or we're going to be able to go for like a nice long walk. And I think both of us were more eager for the walk. So we postponed the baking, still like to do it, but we flipped through the book. It was gorgeous. All the different things that were in the book. I don't know if I have the patience for baking. I do know there's people that listen to the podcast who are bakers. And I know that a lot of even cooks and chefs say, like, baking is a science. Like baking and cooking are not the same thing. So, I definitely interested in trying it sometime, but I don't think diving in to just starting to make tarts and cookies and pies and things like that is where I want to be, especially if I'm trying to lose weight. The last thing I want to do is, put the carbohydrate calories, blast them through the roof. So there's that. I got, 2 new, for the artist books. I got the botany for the artist book and anatomy for the artist book. Looking forward to taking a peek at those. I reviewed the sketchbook for the artist prior to COVID. And I'm still waiting for, my good friend, Rebecca, my buddy Chris, who's a co-host of the podcast with me. His wife, Rebecca, has got the sketchbook for the artist. I'm looking for her. She's a great artist. So I reviewed it, but I thought, you know what? Why not have an actual artist give the book a review? So she's got it at the moment. I'm waiting for a review from her. What else did I get? I got Art, a Visual History. I love the art books that DK has. I have a really, really big art book that they gave me a year or so ago. Loved, and I'm looking forward to checking out this Art and Visual History book. I got an Essential Herbs book. That goes with the Neil one. So the complete massage and complete wellness books that I've already played with. I got the essential herbs as well. Can't wait to go through that one and look at all the cool things. They sent me the complete guitar manual, which is great. It's like a visual guide for beginners. What is it? What do we got here? I'll review it once I get to it. But yeah, the complete guitar manual, the beginner's guide to playing the guitar. right? New edition with free online techniques and backing track videos. Okay, so there we go. That's pretty cool in my opinion. Where's that thing that I'm supposed to, I'm just taking a quick look. I'm like, I hope it didn't come with like a card or something. Acknowledgements, right? Because that's to be like, here's where you go to get your free thing. Acoustic guitars is telling you the difference and stuff. I love their stuff, guys. I'm so happy to be back in it. Chapter 3, the sessions, introducing the sessions. BB King is on there. Online short. Yeah, here's the things to step-by-step introduction. Online video tutorials. The 10 learning sessions in this book are each accompanied by a video tutorial which can be viewed at. Maybe I'll do that for you guys. Maybe when I review that book, I will give you guys a little sneak peek. I'll let you in on the tutorial video link. So yeah, which is great, right? Because that'll coincide with my wanting to learn and play the guitar more. Another How It Works book from the series. So how management works. Yeah, that one's going to be fun. The How It Works series is amazing. How the brain works, how the body works, how how money works, how business works, how science works, like all that stuff. It's going to be great. Another one from the series, there was What's My Child Thinking, which is a cool book. I gave it to my friend Alex, who was really excited. She's young pups in her litter. She showed interest, and I've talked to her since. She said she's referred to the book several times when a situation's happening. Super, super cool. Well, What's My Teenager Thinking is available now for 13 to 18-year-olds, and I'm looking forward to reading that. I'm going to use it on my young pups in the PlayStation group. I got a bunch of teenagers in there, so it'll be funny to be reading a book and then using the psychology on them. So that's going to be a funny one, and I'm actually looking forward to reading it because the two other kiddos that are in that age bracket that I don't really see or talk to very often. I'd like to, but they're teenagers. And, the mom's ex-boyfriend, maybe not high on their, I mean, they barely want to spend time with their own parents, right? So ex-step parents are not maybe high on the list, but, I'd love to be able to kind of know what they're going through. So maybe if they are feeling like they're, they don't want to talk to mom or dad about what's going on, maybe they'll put some faith in me and I'll have the tools necessary to help them deal with some shit that they're seeing. Oh, going through. All right. And then I got two books I'm super excited about. I got Behind the Horror, True Stories that Inspired Horror Movies. It's a paperback. It's going to be freaking awesome. I love that. I love that stuff. I love the horror genre and the stuff that goes behind it. And then, of course, John Landis presents Haunted Houses. The, Classic Stories of Doors That Should Never Be Opened. Another horror one. John Landis, of course, I think I was telling you guys about that a while back. Maybe not. Maybe I was just on the phone with somebody. John Landis is the guy who directed American Werewolf in London, the movie that scared the shit out of me as a kid. Scared the absolute shit out of me. My dad listens to the podcast. My dad's the one who shows me. I'm sure he can remember quite a few sleepless nights after that, just being horrified by that movie. So John Landis has curated this collection of stories about haunted houses and stuff like that. So that's gonna be fun. So yeah, that's my big thing. My DK haul. Very, very happy with that. Those are the books that you guys are gonna be hearing about in the near future. Cannot wait to go over them and enjoy. And then finally, I'll tell you about my walk with my buddy Matt. Okay, so we're not too far into the podcast, but I probably tell some stories along the way here. So my buddy Matt came over. We decided to ex-nay on the baking, and we went for a walk through my old neighborhood, Hintonburg, where we both grew up, where we became friends at a very young age. And a lot of my early years were spent there. I met my ex in that neighborhood when we were the tender age of 12. So a lot of things in that neighborhood, my first two places that I lived in on one of them until I was, like 13 or 14, maybe 15 when I started going to Glebe. It's been a long time. Spent a long time in that neighborhood. My first jobs were all in the neighborhood, delivering newspapers and washing dishes at a place called the Carlton Restaurant, not the Carlton Tavern. I worked at the Giant Tiger in that neighborhood. So yeah, a lot of memories there. So I'm going to just sort of take you through them. How about that? We were walking through the old neighborhood. I ran into a guy, JP, little Asian dude who lived in my neighborhood, but we worked together at the Westin Hotel. He was one of the bartenders. So for the big events, him and another guy, Elise, were the bartenders that, if you were having a convention or anything like that and there was a bar, they were the guys working it. And super good dude. Great to see him. That was years ago. I was 18 when I worked at the Westin. I'm 37 now. So it was a long time ago. And he's an elderly fellow. He's with his grandson. And it was good seeing him. He was just hanging out in the neighborhood. sitting on a bench as old people do. And it was great to see him. We shared some stories, got to catch up. Great dude. Great to see him. I went into the giant tiger that I used to work in, and it doesn't look very different from when I was there. And again, that's going back. That's even pre-Westin Hotel. So some of the staff's still there. I would say that's 20 years ago. Easy. Oh my God, no. I was like 15 working there. God, 22 years ago I worked there. Yeah, time flies. Yeah, but I worked there, and it was Giant Tiger for my international and American listeners is like I said, it's like if you try to put a Walmart in like in a smaller store. If you try to take your standard, take the size of like a Walgreens and then turn it into a Walmart. That's what a Giant Tiger is. So there was that. We also walked through the whole neighborhood. We were kind of going up and down the streets because we were checking, places where other people used to live. And Matt kind of wanted to go in certain areas. And I was like, I wonder what he's looking for. And he's like, I don't know. I'm just maybe seeing if I run into somebody. I'm like, the people you'd run into are going to be on the main street. Like they're not going to be down in the old neighborhood, like kids just sitting on a bicycle in the corner. Like we're going back to like 8-year-old days, 7-8-year-old days where, or maybe 12 and under, where guys are just kind of roaming around the neighborhood. It's like, that's not our neighborhood anymore. A lot of those people now, they've got jobs. And if they're hanging out, they'd be hanging out. You're not going to run into them. He's been living across the country for a while, so I don't know what he was expecting, but I think the neighborhood is more about just the places you remember. So like a lot of the businesses that we remember were gone. We walked through the old streets. There was a friend of ours, Matthew Sifton, who lived in the neighborhood. He was the kid who always had the Super Nintendo before everybody, right? He was the guy who had the stuff and everyone wanted to go over to his house and play the Super Nintendo. And he was always like, guys, let's go outside and play. We're all like, shut up. We're playing Final Fantasy or Star Fox or whatever the new games are. Oh, that's a thing too. I won't talk about it, but I'll just give it a quick plug. You guys got to check out High Score on Netflix. I watched that this week. High Score, it's like I don't want to say it's a history of video games, but it's got a history of some pretty big stuff in video games. Very entertaining, very, very well done. High Score on Netflix. Check that out. So anyways, we walked by his place. It was so funny. He's like, I'm going to knock on the door and see if he's still here. I'm like, dude, that was 20 to 30 years ago. Like he's not here anymore. There's no way he still lives in this neighborhood. I'm like, sure, he's old and successful now. So he knocked on the door, and I was just like, I'm not going up there. He knocks on the door, some frightened looking teenager, he's like, hey, is Matt here? Does he still live here? And she just stares at him. He's like, we're his buddies. We used to hang out with him. She just stares. He's like, okay. And I'm like, so was that worth it? But we went to the Parkdale Market and Park, which is kind of like where we would hang out, being like the low income, neighborhood we were, which is now, by the way, the whole neighborhood's getting gentrified. So like everything is, I'm saying like the property value and all the new houses going up in the area. It's like, the people that we grew up with can't afford to be in this neighborhood anymore. So we walked to the old park, and like a lot of parks from 30 some odd years ago, they've been given facelifts. All the dangerous structures have been removed. It's all sterile, simple, stuff that's, I don't know. It looked different. But there was still the pool. The pool was still open because we would spend our summers there. So it was a cool time to kind of walk through the neighborhood during the COVID summer vacation where kids are in the pool together, 12-year-old lifeguards or whatever it is. It's just one of those like public pools. It's no deeper than 2 feet at its, at the center, the deepest area. But it was just, I don't know, it was cool. We just sort of sat down at a picnic table and started talking. We were sort of looking out at the pool, which probably made the lifeguards uncomfortable because it was like, what are these two old guys, what are these two men doing sitting at this table staring at us? But we were just kind of like looking at the old park, the market that's right next to it, and just different. It was very, very different than what we remembered. And it was tough because I couldn't quite remember exactly sort of what structures were where and whatnot. It's just different. I heard somebody on another podcast this week saying like that whole saying like, you can never go home again. And you're like, so if you don't understand that statement, it's just like, you can go there, but it's not going to be the same as, you remember it. So those days are gone. So the very close proximity to that, as we walked back up to, right in the corner by the park was a pizza. And it's still there. It's undergone several renovations and whatnot over the years, but that was kind of like the tradition, right? Is like getting a slice of pizza up at Pizza. And it is, I mean, I didn't even bother having Matt's like, oh, you want to get a slice? I'm like, no. He's like, come on, it's tradition. I'm like, no, the slices here are not like they used to be. Used to be the place was busy, so the food was coming out of the oven quite regularly. Used to be the kind of pepperonis too that when you cook them, they would curl up. So they were like little cupped pepperonis on the pizza. Not the case anymore. Hasn't been for years. So he had a slice, whatever. And then we walked down the next street, which was the street I used to live on and grew up on, Hinton. And it was funny because as soon as we turned the corner, I was like, oh my God, all the houses are like, the vast majority of the houses in the street are gone. It's my place I grew up in, gone. And sure enough, yeah, I walked down the street. So right from the edge of the street where there's like a Royal Oak, like a pub restaurant, all the way behind it, like at least 3 or 4 different houses that were all lined up where I grew up, spent so many years of my life, all gone, a giant hole in the ground, where they're putting up, no doubt, a big condo building or something like that. There's no way the hole in the ground is so deep that, that's like 2-3 floors of like sub-basement parking. Like if you were just putting in like, triplexes or whatever, semi-detached, whatever the hell you call them, duplexes and triplexes, you wouldn't have underground that deep. So no doubt they're putting in a giant, condo place, which is, I gotta be honest with you, that bummed me out. Not that my house was gone, but I never got to sort of walk around it one last time. The place, like me and the neighbors' houses too, where we would play tag and run through the little areas and places to hide and stuff, like it's all gone. And it's funny too, because, well, not funny. It was just odd because if the new building was constructed, you could sort of walk around that area, just be like, oh, I guess this would have been so-and-so's house and this would have been my house. And you can still kind of move around it. But just because everything was blocked off, it was just like gone and like denied. I don't know. It was just an odd feeling, but I remember going up. It was funny because like I would remember the doorbell. The doorbell was like, it didn't ring. It was like an sound. Like it would just sort of vibrate so fast along the little bell thing. It was just this, sorry if I blew out your ears doing that, didn't mean to, but that's what it was like. I remember that doorbell. You'd hear like a slight ringing underneath that horrible buzzing sound. But like, I mean, I vaguely remember how the driveway was, the step kitchen. And again, it's like you couldn't even look and see the ground. It's like, it's dug down 2 levels. It never was ever that deep because it was houses and triplex. It was just to gone. I vaguely remember what it looked like, but it's all just, it's a giant hole in the ground right now. So that was a bummer. We walked down to an old mall, Holland Cross. It's across from Tunney's pasture where the big new subway train or whatever flies through Ottawa poorly, breaks down all the time. But there was a mall there, Holland Cross. I remember there was a McDonald's right at the corner. So when we got lucky and, used to get a few bucks, go have some McDonald's. I remember that was the McDonald's that was closest to my house. Just walk down there. I remember one time after school, I went there and there was an Asian lady working the counter. I remember that I could afford cheeseburgers because cheeseburgers were like $1 instead of like the $5 for a Big Mac meal or whatever, but I could afford like the $1 cheeseburgers. So one time I had a few bucks and I was like, oh, I'll take 3 cheeseburgers. That was it. No fries, whatever. Just, I'm going to get 3 cheeseburgers, please. I think it had to have been 3. I don't think it was 2, but it must have been 3. It could have been 2, whatever. Either way, all I remember is I ordered it. The woman goes, oh no, too many Pimpo. And I said, I'm sorry. She goes, no 3 cheeseburger. No, too many. You too many Pimpo. And I was like, I have too many pimples. That was not that I was too fat. I was overweight from a young age. So maybe I wasn't even overweight at that time. That's how long ago it would have been. But to look at me and go, too many Pimpo. You now have cheeseburger, too many Pimpo. And I'm not making this up. I'm not making fun of the accent. That's what was, if I said, she said, I had too many pimples. That doesn't really do it justice. That's not what I experienced. I experienced, no, too many Pimpo. That's what I got. Who's fucking messaging me now? Oh, Joey Elias. Tell me to name drop my celebrity friends. But I'm getting messages. Okay, so anyways, doo-doo-doo, beep, bop, and boop, squeep. So yeah, too many pimples. I don't remember. I think she had to give me the food. Legally, she's not allowed to deny me, but she is allowed to shame me. She teenage pimple shamed me. I remember that. I was like, that's the only time I didn't ask to speak to a manager because I wasn't a Karen. Oh, I like how the name is weaponized now. Speaking of which, do you guys ever notice that Spider-Man's in the Spider-Man movies, the recent Spider-Man movies, that he doesn't have the suit that talks to him anymore. It wasn't evident in Infinity War, Endgame, or Far From Home. You know why? Because he named his suit Karen. That was it. She was always telling him what to do and giving him shit, and he called his suit Karen. They were ahead of their time, and then they eliminated. The suit got killed. All right, the Karen didn't win. The Karen got eliminated. Just saying. Anyways, that's so funny to me that you can weaponize a name. Like, I've been calling people in my act just different names. Like, I'll call an old woman Agnes or Helen. You know, I'll call some douchebag not a Chad, sorry. Because that's already a thing. But you don't see Chads crying on the internet going, Chad is the N-word for white males. Like women do for Karen. Women, you don't have enough to complain about. I'm an asshole. Anyways, I'm just saying, like, just, can you stop bitching and saying that, like, the C word is the N-word for women? Karen is the N-word for women. You have no N-word, ladies. You don't have an N-word, unless you're a black woman, in which case I'm very sorry. If you're a black woman and you get called Karen, I mean, I'm sure you'd still rather, again, the fact that you can say Karen and you don't have to say the K word pretty much proves it in and of itself. If you can say one and not the other, one of them's worse. But anyways, get off your soapbox, Josh. Nobody cares. All right, fine. All I'm saying is you weaponizing names. Like I want to weaponize every single name so that nobody can just say names anymore. But that's what I'm saying. I've been like jokingly calling people Steve or Agnes or Helen or whatever. If you look like this, I'm going to call you that just for fun, not to fucking turn that name into a weapon. I'm fucking around. It's a joke. And I can't, and of course women, well, I have the best sense of humor. Everyone knows I have a great sense of humor. No, you don't. Because someone called some woman a Karen, you know, and she immediately whined and bitched. And then the rest of the women are like, that's right. We should get upset by being called. Anything we can do to victimize stop, Josh, stop. All right. I apologize. I move on. I apologize to each and every woman and Karen in the world. You're all victims. Why can't I just let shit go? All right, I'll add that to my list of things about myself I need to work on. We finally walked from the Too Many Pimples McDonald's area all the way down Westboro to the cigar shop that I frequent. And we enjoyed I'm trying to think if we saw anything. We just kind of walked through. There's so many different stores and things that are different. But we picked up some cigars. That's where I picked up the big old bat that I smoked at me mother's house. And then Matt and I we walked all the way back to my place. It was a long walk. It was a 10-kilometer walk, if that means anything. So that was a day I did not go to the gym, but I did get in my 10-kilometer walk. And, we sat on the back porch and we had some whiskey and smoked cigars. And, it was a good old time. Good old time. I think that's about it. Not a lot, but it's 41 minutes and it's already 10 after 8. I got to get there for 9, quarter to really. So, having said that, I've got an email from my friend Tiff. Tiff and I had a chance to chat a while back too. I'm rekindling all sorts of, relationships and things like that. Where is the email? So I just appreciate her sending me. Okay. Where's her email? There we go. So I asked her permission before reading this too, because I was like, okay, she's opening up a little bit. I want to make sure I do this without, outing anyone. But so Tiff wrote, Josh, who knows me? No one. It's taken me so long to even find things out about myself. That really stumped me, Josh, because I was chatting with her and you guys, of course, about the whole, if you were to die tomorrow, like who would be the one to tell a room full of people that you care about who you are? Like who could share that with you? Everything that you were, right? Who's going to be the person that you've backed yourself up the most to? And backed up as in like made a copy, right? To be known so that when you're gone, it's not like you're taking a bunch of shit about yourself with you. But she goes, that really stumped me, Josh. This is going to sound very multi-personality. I feel like most people know the good side of me. Few, maybe two, know my dangerous side. Some know only the professional medical side. A couple know the fun. But I feel like no one side of me can live with the other. I have a huge fear of exposing myself to people. I can't stand rejection. Am I enough? Yes, I'll be married 10 years this year, but even he has seen my dangerous and nice side. But will he ever understand my medical side or religious or true kinky side? No. To me, if I introduce an area of me and others don't like it, I shut it down. The only person I know that knows all of me is me. And even that has taken many years of acceptance and understanding. It's a scary question, Josh, so thank you for asking. But does any person ever truly know another? Or do we only expose what's needed or what others can handle? I don't want to burden others with me. And the things I like, no one else ever does, or they just don't get me. But anyways, hope you have a great week. Josh, sorry it's been so long. XO Tiff. Well, Tiff, I loved your email. I loved the question. Oh, sorry, the messages still keep coming in. Oh, Jesus. Sorry. Sorry, I get distracted. Tiff, I loved your email. It's kind of the thing that I feel a lot. I wonder if it's the kind of thing other people feel. Of course, onesies, please contact at onemanpodcast.com. Send me your thoughts and your feelings. I don't know. It's so tough for me because this podcast is kind of like where I let the most of me out. Again, I have no idea who's listening. I have no idea who's out there. Speaking of no idea who's listening, I got another email on YouTube or another message on YouTube. Someone saying like, "Hey, don't give up. Please keep posting your podcast." I think the last one I have there is like episode 56. So I had to say to the person, I am still recording a podcast every single week. I just don't put them on YouTube because of like, my pals at Monkey Junk have given me a license to use their music. Well, as soon as I put the podcast on there and that little couple of seconds of Monkey Junk music, well, YouTube as like, oh, there's a copyright claim and we can't release it. And I say, I have a license. I will literally upload the license that I have and you can look and see that I have permission to use this and I can monetize this myself. And and I put it there and then it's like, your claim is denied. I'm like, well, I can prove it. You're denying something that I can prove, but you're not giving me an opportunity to prove it. Anyways. So YouTube takes a lot of effort to actually takes a lot of time. For some reason, the uploads crash a lot. And at the same time, like the copyright issue shit afterwards. So like I can't even if I get tons of views, which I sometimes do on some of my videos, nothing that would ever come from it in a benefit would help me. And YouTube views track completely differently than my, the podcast itself being downloaded on all the different platforms. So it's just a bigger pain in the ass. So I have to, and like I said, I have to sit and constantly monitor it. When I'm uploading, I can't do like a big batch upload to YouTube where we just put all the episodes up at once. So it's just an undertaking, but it was nice to see that there's people out there who listen. They're like, hey, don't give, like people are like, don't give up. Please keep posting your episodes. I'm like, well, they're still coming. They are still being made. So, if somebody, maybe in 10 years when this episode gets onto YouTube, they'll be like, oh, that was cool. I remember 10 years ago when I asked him not to stop. And it was like a day before that I got that message. So I will add that to my never ending list of things to do that. But, I try to make this podcast the thing where I share the stuff that I'm not necessarily always comfortable sharing, but that's the one thing that like my stand-up act will always have to be kind of like just goofy and funny and silly and whatnot. And there's sometimes where my thoughts get goofy and silly, but this is sort of the place where initially it started as my, oh, this will be a comedy podcast. I'll talk about my week and I'll make it all fun and silly. But the shit I've gone through throughout the time that I've had this podcast, the reflection and like you said, trying to get to know yourself and understand yourself. It's been rough. It's been really weird and rough and trying at times. And so I don't know. I have a difficult time. I like the honesty. I like putting myself out there and who knows who's listening to it. And you know what, if they're going to judge me for it, then that's cool. I still get worried about what people think at times, but I think that the most freeing thing is that I am transparent and I'm brutally honest. I yell how, I'm afraid and I don't know this stuff and I don't know what I'm doing and I doubt I yell it from the rooftops on this podcast because I know that my core group of onesies, even though sometimes I'm talking to you guys and you're like, yeah, you're just complaining about something. I'm like, you know what? But at least you're not like, you're a shit person because you have comments. We all have complaints and sometimes we just internalize them. I can get them out. It's like I said, it's like my public journal that I put all my shit out here. If you want to listen to it, cool. And you know what's going on with me. But this podcast is me backing me up as much as I can. So some of the stuff I put in there's goofy. I have a dumb, goofy thought. I'll throw it out there because that's also who I am. I process some of these feelings with just silly because it's easier to make fun of it. It makes it less intimidating and more palpable to process, right? When there's just constant tragedy and hope and despair and hopelessness, like it's just sits with you sometimes, and I'm sorry that sometimes you guys hear it. And I'm sorry that, I have happy people that listen to this for maybe it helps you stay happy when you see what the other side lives like. But I just, for them to go, wow, how can you be so down on him? I don't know. I wish I wasn't. I wish there was a pill. Some say that there is. I think it's just, it numbs you. I've known people on antidepressants who say it's just a numbing feeling. It doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like you're coping. It just feels like you're just delaying. You're just pushing it back. Right? Like Tony Stark with the blood poisoning or whatever, he's not curing it. He's just sticking another thing into his thing that holds it back for longer. Dr. Jekyll taking a serum that doesn't make him change, but doesn't mean it's not there. He hasn't cured it. Right? The Hulk with his yoga breathing exercises, you haven't cured it. It's still there. You're just pushing it back. And I want to deal with my shit. I just don't know how, I keep talking about how like I've learned things in therapy, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, but I just, if I know what the cause is, why can't I just solve it? But it's still that deep doubt. So now it's like, well, why do I doubt? Why do I doubt? Let's keep digging. Let's find the cause. It's like you dig and you find a rotten root and you're like, oh, this root's rotten. Okay, great. But how deep does that root go? Right? Like, let's, I don't know, maybe that's not a great metaphor, but I just want to find literally the root of the problem. Maybe that's where it came from, but just, I want to find it and I want to solve it. I don't want to live like this all the time. I want to believe that I can do it. Sorry, Tiff, I'm not trying to turn this and make it about myself. I'm just trying to empathize and relate and just say like, I too want to be accepted. I don't want to not be known. And I don't want to just do things that I think other people are going to accept me for, because if you're trying to please everybody else, you're not living for yourself, right? You're just trying to please other people. And the old saying goes, when you try to please everybody, you end up pleasing nobody, yourself included. But just know, for what it's worth, I love you as a person and I accept you for who you are. And, sometimes we all have our dark sides. Again, I make, comments and tease people and shit in my podcast that I feel love to victimize themselves. And it's funny because nobody likes to listen to someone victimize themselves. And I know that at times that's exactly how I come across. Like I'm just playing the victim card, and I'm trying to let you guys know again, that if that's what I'm coming across as, I'm being misunderstood. That's a big frustration of mine. I don't feel like I'm a victim. I know that I can cure my shit. I just don't know how sometimes, So, or maybe I do, and maybe I'm just scared. Who knows? But, as I've said many times, life is very difficult and mine didn't come with an instruction manual. So we got to figure out, yeah, it's a tough one, but you got me. You ever need to talk, or you want to download or create a backup, as I call it. Message me, email me, talk. Anybody, guys, I hope you're all welcome. Contact the onemanpodcast.com. Everyone is welcome to be as vulnerable as they want. And I promise you that I will not make you regret, putting yourself in that position. If you ever need to talk, or if you know the answers and you've been there and you've gotten better, or you're just the kind of person who's always had it good and there's things that you use that work for you. Like I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear it. I love the people. I'm going to shit on a certain group just a little bit, but I love the people who tell me that I complain. It just sounds like I'm bitching every week, so, but offer no solutions. That's the one that bothers me. I've had some friends who say like, it sounds like this, and then they offer something, which is great. Right. But it's like, I used to have a boss who told me, it's like, Josh, you come to me with problems, come to me with solutions. So, if you're going to, let me just ask this. If you're one of my onesies, and I love each and every one of you, regardless of whether or not you criticize me, the fact that you spend any of your time listening to me, whether you enjoy it or not, I'm grateful for it. I want you to know it's not lost on me. However, if I could just say, if you're going to take the time to criticize me and make me feel like what I'm doing is kind of shitty or whatever, offer me an alternative. You know what I mean? If you think that all I'm doing is complaining, well, I get that. Sometimes I am. Offer me an insight, right? If I'm doing something that you don't do, what do you do differently? Help me. That's all. Use the same breath to criticize, to help, right? Offer a solution. That's all. No biggie. I'll still take you shitting on me. I'm very, very adept to that. But I'm just saying, hey, if you happen to be somebody who doesn't understand why, I've got some down times and what I can do differently, I'm open to it. And I'm sure, and I'd be happy to share with everyone else who maybe could use the advice too. So coming up this week, tomorrow, I'm going with my buddy Mark, regular contributor to the podcast. We're going to a gun range. We're going to fire off 44 Magnum and some other guns. All I know is the 44 Magnum is like the dirty, hairy gun. And I think he's got a 38 as well. But it's like the hand cannon that like Rick uses in The Walking Dead. So like the long barrel revolver. We got that. He's also got the semi-automatics. I think they are like a 9mm. I think is a semi-automatic. I don't know. I don't know about guns. I don't care. All I know is I'm gonna get to shoot one, and I'm excited. I'm excited just to try it out, see what all the fuss is about. I'm also terrified to hold it, so I'm gonna be like, I'm not gonna be fucking around at all. I don't want to fucking. Yeah, I wouldn't even I'd be terrified to even lift it up until like there's no one around me. I'd be worried that like I'll like raise it up and some guy will come running out. Oh, I got to fix something. Bang. So I don't want to blow anybody's head off, mine or anyone else's. But I'm looking forward to that. This weekend I head to London to hang out with my pal Red, and I'll be doing the. I actually won't be back until later in the week. So I'm actually going to be delayed. I'm just going to bring all the podcast stuff with me. I am going to be busy. I want to spend time with my friends. I don't want to pack it, and I don't want to not use it. So I'm going to leave it behind, and I'm going to be late next week, but I'm going to tell you in advance. It's deliberate. And then I'm doing some Nespresso trainings because as soon as I come back from London, I'm going to be jumping feet first into the 5-store fucking 10-week Nespresso program. I'm very excited to be working again and doing all that fun stuff. So, yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. I'm back to work, and I'm at the same time too. While I'm in London, I think that my excess time, I'm going to find the local Good Life and get myself to the gym all those days. So I'm gonna give myself Saturday and Sunday off. That's gonna be my thing for now, and Monday through Friday at the gym. So another week down, another podcast. Wow, shit, how close am I? Oh, I gotta move my ass. Another podcast down. Enjoy the outro song. I think it's absolutely hilarious. Listen to the lyrics. They're hysterical. And, and I will chat with you guys again soon.